Hello again. One of the things most difficult to deal with in anxiety is the subject of intrusive thoughts and how those thoughts can plague our minds and distract us from living a full life and scupper our chances of happiness. So, intrusive thoughts are best to be ignored completely and or accepted. So by that I mean you can have an intrusive thought, whether it's a grotesque one or a difficult one or something you don't want to think. You can have it and accept it and then try and move on. Sometimes that's very difficult. Now obviously we have thoughts all the time, and not all the time they upset us. So nobody comes to complain about having nice thoughts. No one comes to me and says, Anthony, I'm worried about having pleasant thoughts. It's always difficult thoughts, grotesque thoughts, horrible thoughts, worrying thoughts, troubling thoughts, taboo thoughts. And very often these thoughts are the outcrop of a tired mind, the outcrop of a troubled mind. And so they're very often nothing to worry about. Most of the time, if they're connected to anxiety, they're nothing at all to worry about. They're just intrusive thoughts. Now, if we can let go of those, that's great. If we can let go of them, Dr. Roger Baker says, let go of them like a hot stone. So, have the thought, pretend it's a stone, let go of it quickly. And that's great if you can do that and move on. If you can't let go of it, you can accept it. Dr. Claire Weeks says, thoughts don't come invited to the party. So if you accept the thoughts and say, this is part of my mind, this is part of me, this is part of my troubled mind, and it's something that I'm going to have to tolerate. If you can do that, that's fantastic. If you can have the thoughts without reacting to them, then you've cracked it basically. One of the things that I would mention about intrusive thoughts is that you can view them like thoughts that you would have in a dream or a nightmare. So very often we wake up and we remember the dream or the thought we've had recently. So it can be something, say you dreamed about, I don't know, cheese, something like that, and you wake up thinking about cheese. Now, that doesn't necessarily upset you. Or if you dreamt about something really upsetting, it wouldn't necessarily upset you when you woke up. And you'd wake up and you think, God, I've just had a terrible dream about cheese. Or I've just had a terrible dream about killing my next door neighbour. But it wouldn't necessarily upset you because you would acknowledge it for what it is. You would acknowledge it for an intrusive thought that came as an outcrop of your subconscious mind during a dream state. So it wouldn't upset you because you'd recognise it as a dream. So these thoughts come in the fatigued and troubled mind when we're not asleep. So they're like waking dream thoughts. And I think this is very important. So when we have a dream and we have a thought like that, we can think something and accept it and say, well, it was just a dream, or it was just a nightmare. It upsets you for a little bit, then you move on with your life. So similarly, you could have that thought while you're awake and let go and move on. Because if it doesn't upset you, then it won't cause the anxiety to turn on, and you'll be free of anxiety then. So that which doesn't upset you won't cause the anxiety. So you can pretend the intrusive thought is part of a dream, and if you do that, you can let go of it and move on. So intrusive thoughts in dreams, very similar to intrusive thoughts. And there's another similarity as well. Intrusive thoughts when we're in the waking time can trouble us more than the dream. But why would that be? Well, it's because we're conscious and we're troubled by our thoughts. There's been a very popular book over the last 5, 6, 7 years called The Secret. And in that book, and other books like it about the law of attraction, it says that thoughts are things. Now that's plainly not true, because, if it was, imagine what sort of chaos the world would be. But obviously The Secret sold lots of good books, and it's great for people who are searching for answers, or people who are looking for a religion, looking for answers, looking for some kind of satisfaction in their life. So they adhere to a book like The Secret and hope that it gives them answers. And it says something like, thoughts are things. Well, they're not things, they're just passing apparitions and passing fancies, if you like, or idiosyncrasies of the human mind. So just as we have thoughts while we're asleep, in dream state, we can have thoughts in the day. They're not things. Most of the time they don't amount to anything at all. They're just thoughts, and they're nothing to worry about. And if you can master dismissing those thoughts as an outcrop of a troubled mind, just as you dismiss them when you dream, then you won't be anxious anymore. That's certainly in relation to intrusive thoughts. Practice it next time you have one. Okay, see you next time.